Anyway, should we get on some nerdy news?
We shall.
The order of this is not ideal. I tend to try and leave the heavier news towards the end, but
Yeah.
it is definitely the biggest piece of news. Ray Stevenson, who is playing, I don't know if we know the character's name yet, but a big role in the Ahsoka series.
I think we did, as people that did work it out, and I can't remember it because we discussed it on the podcast.
But he plays a big role in the Ahsoka series that's coming up. He's also voiced a number of characters in animated Star Wars stuff, as well as playing one of the Asgardians in Thor's little gaggle in the first two Thor films, and a number of other roles.
He was also in Black Flag. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah. Has sadly passed away at the age of 58.
Yeah, which is not old.
No, not old at all. I mean, it's younger than my father. Like, it's really, really young in the modern world. It's come as a big shock to a lot of people in no surprising way. I don't think anyone's ever expected to hear of someone's death. But I think it says a lot about how talented a professional he was, the speed at which so many very high profile people he's worked with have come out to comment on how phenomenally hardworking he was.
Yeah. And it's such a, especially with Ahsoka coming up, and like we've talked about how excited we are for Ahsoka, and he's playing like this Sith guy, and what's probably going to be an incredible role. It's such a shame that if that's a character that was meant to continue, that he won't get to continue on. But I'm also, it's kind of in a way glad that he'd finished doing Ahsoka, so at least that's like he gets to go out doing Star Wars, which
yeah, and I mean Star Wars was a big part of his career and he loved it a lot. Him and Dave Filoni were very close and he enjoyed working with him. But I definitely think it's gonna hit quite hard because we've been led to believe that this character might be a very three-dimensional antagonist, with the teasing of the orange blade and what that could, not the orange blade, it's like a ready orange blade and what that could mean. And he looks like he has a major role in some of the show. So it's going to be very sad. And as his last works, I think it's going to get potentially even more eyes than it was going to get out of people who want to pay their respect by watching his last work.
Agreed.
In something that doesn't feel as massive comparatively, HBO Max have absolutely shit the bed with their launch.
Really? I would never have expected that. That's shocking news.
I felt like on the day the launch happened, every 5 minutes or every 30 minutes, when I'd go to just check anything, I'd see more information about something else that had been cataclysmically done wrong.
Do you know what's wild? I didn't even know it launched.
I mean, to be fair, it's not launched for us, so that's not necessarily as large a surprise. So, first and foremost, the issue started when everyone who'd switched their subscription over found out that the app wasn't just going to be updated, they had to delete and re-download a different app. Why? Why?
Do you know what that screams?
Incompetence.
Yeah. But that's like, we have this team that's like managing the HBO app. We're going to just get a new team. We've got this new team building the new HBO Max. We'll just get them to build a new app rather than like trying to figure out a way to like build it as an update. And that's just a case of like, well, someone will have gone, hang on, why didn't we just add this as an up? Like, why have they got a whole team in to build an
Yeah,
app?
I don't know what they thought they were doing, but it's bad. Um, and then even better, some users were apparently charged for the old service and the new service.
Classic.
So apparently, some people who
Mm.
didn't opt
Cancel.
into auto transfer
Yeah.
got charged one last time on the old service, which they shouldn't have been, but for some reason they did.
Uh,
And then obviously they bought the new service separately, so
mm.
they got charged for that.
Someone didn't flick a switch to turn the.
Yeah. They assumed everyone would either just fully cancel or
Oh, 100% HBO was like,
opt into their auto switch. But it
people.
doesn't seem to have happened for everyone, which makes it even dumber.
Well, it'll be a case of like, oh, people will auto transfer, or they'll just cancel. It's fine. We'll leave it. It's like it's not going to be an issue, or like someone's not even considered that like it would be an issue. And then if someone in HBO is probably like, we'll just leave it because maybe we'll earn
Yeah.
a few extra pennies, and maybe no one will notice. Like these guys won't notice that they've got charged twice. They're subscribed to all sorts of streaming services that are stopping them being able to afford a mortgage.
Yeah,
What a
it's
mess.
it's it's outrageous how they've done that. The tagline, which isn't a horror show in of itself, it's not as big an issue as the other two, but it's fucking laughable.
Okay.
You ready?
Mm.
Max for streaming HBO.
Do you know
Bro,
what?
why'd you even bother with the rename?
Here's the thing, right? Something like that. After we saw the rebrand and the just like the ridicule the graphic design community has given this whole rebranding, like it does not surprise me that this tagline is as bad as the rebrand. Like the whole
Like,
thing's a,
it just feels like this entire thing has been organized by 95-year-old white men in a boardroom.
really. It's
It,
literally it's gone. We feel like we want to look. So they're like, we're launching this new like this merger. We need to rebrand. We need this needs to be like a big fresh thing. Yeah, but what do we do for a rebrand? We'll just keep it the same, like that. Just twist it around a bit, like it'd be fine.
yeah,
Cut off there,
it's
like
so
we'll call
weird.
it Max, like it sounds big and epic, and it's like okay, and then tagline. Well, I mean, it's the same thing.
Well,
It's just
well, they don't know it's for HBO now, so we better tell them.
yeah, like honestly, this is gonna go down in like at least the graphic design. Like when your kids are gonna get taught graphic design, it's like bad corporate rebrands. It's like this is why was this wrong? All the
Yeah,
reasons that this rebrand was a mistake, and then it's like you look at it, and this is a reason. All these rebrands were great, and it's like a brand that
yeah.
did great off of it.
Well, it'll be like the old FedEx logo that everyone used to get shown. It's like, can you see why this logo's so cool? Once we show it to you, you'll never see the logo the same again. It's like that arrow in the E
Yeah,
and the X,
yeah.
and we're like, oh, that is actually really cool. And then you just got Matt. It's like, what is that for? For streaming HBO? It's like, what? That shouldn't be a tagline. You dumb fox. Um,
Honestly,
and then
to top it off,
again, it's not.
it's not a huge issue, but
It's just a bit of controversy you don't want around a new service.
well, it's like on top of everything that was going on.
Yeah. So with the user account, similar to Disney Plus, you can choose a character to be your icon.
Woo! Fun.
So they've got some of the Justice League Unlimited icons, they've got some of the Titans icons, and they've got some of the Justice League icons from the Schneiderverse. The thing is, there's a bigger mission. There is not Ray Fisher Cyborg available as an icon. And this, realistically, has been decided that it's because of Warner Brothers' unhappiness with his hauling out bullshit on the set of Justice League once Joss Whedon took over,
Hmm.
and calling out Joss Whedon for racist abuse. So his image isn't there, but Ezra Miller, who is dividing the community and is, I believe, still facing criminal cases,
Yeah.
his Flash is available as an icon. So, as an outsider looking in, you could make the argument the literal criminal who is waiting to be tried is allowed to have an icon still, but the man who called out racism on set of one of your films isn't.
Yeah, but they've got
One
to.
could make the argument that's how that looks.
But Connor, as the person at HBO here, we have to advertise the Flash film that's coming out. How will people
Also,
know if they can't have an icon on our new streaming service?
it's just so funny.
I want,
Realistically, I'm sure it's probably more a case of they might have to pay Ray Fisher for his likeness if it wasn't in his initial
this was
contract,
I was
and
going to
he's just
play.
like, no, you can't use my face.
I was gonna say something like to play like the side of maybe DC isn't in the wrong here. Maybe wild thought, I know,
But it's still not a good look.
but
Is
it's like
it?
they probably need agreement from Ray Fisher to use his likeness, and maybe he doesn't want to give them that because of previous things. Fair enough. If that's the case, that's fine. But don't put Ezra Miller in there. Just like choose not to have Ezra Miller either. And then people would have been like, oh, okay, they haven't got Ezra Miller, and Ray Fisher probably didn't want them using his face.
Yeah.
But because they
Um,
put Ezra Miller's in, it looks
yeah.
worse.
Realistically, it probably is the whole likeness rules. They didn't get his agreement in the initial contract for his likeness for something like this, and he didn't want to give it to them now, which is completely fine. But as with everything in the world, you've got to look at how it's just going to look for 30 seconds in front of someone on
Yep.
Twitter, and it doesn't look great.
No. I want to start a petition to add just James Gunn's face so that we can all put
phenomenal.
James Gunn's face as our support for his upcoming DCU.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely cannot wait to see how much worse this potentially gets.
Mm. Especially if they start launching it like in the UK. We'll see.
Up next. Oh,
Mm.
I'm gonna let you mainly run with this one. Secret Invasion posters.
Okay.
Talk to me, Mr. Graphic Designer.
So I haven't seen the new ones.
Oh, have you not?
So I should probably look these up. I meant to do it before and I forgot.
They are very, very cool, and I think you're going to be in love with them.
Because I've only seen the like ones that, like the ones we've already seen, if that makes sense. I'm presuming if I put it on Twitter, I will find it.
That's literally what I'm looking for now. Here you go. I'm sending you the tweet that has all of them. They're like in a thread.
Oh, okay. I think I saw one of these. Ooh, so this is their way of showing us who and who isn't Skrull.
No, it's just they've done it for all of the main characters to go, you can't trust anyone.
This is where they've done it to do that. So you're like, oh, they're teasing everyone, so it's not going to be all of them. And then it turns out to be all of them and more.
It'd be cool. But yeah, I assumed as your creative self, you would love this.
It is
style
very
of
well
poster
done.
with like the cutouts of like certain scroll elements and the characters.
It
And it's
is.
just like, oh, who is who? You'll never know. They are leaning so heavily into this secretive espionage spy world. I cannot wait. I hope they do a good job.
And I mean, going off the fact that Marvel themselves tweeted, "Who can you trust?" with the posters, yeah, it is a very cool idea, and like you say, leaning into this idea of we don't know who's going to be what. Definitely one of the more cool poster designs that Marvel's come out with. They're getting better. I think after Doctor Strange, we seem to have been on a bit of an up
I
with
think they've
posters.
realised how over the big head posters we are.
Yes, people kind of called them out on it around that time, and it was just like, okay, maybe we need to start.
Yeah. Because what Marvel kept on doing for a while was they just did the boring big head poster until the film came out, and then they'd release like alternative design ones which were sick. And
Hmm.
everyone was like, why didn't you start with that, you idiots?
Yeah.
Give us creative posters. Let's be honest, at this point, Marvel doesn't really need to market their films that heavily. So just do
No.
the creative posters. Because they're actually going to be the ones that get people talking.
Well, look at the uh, obviously the podcast can't see this, but the Chinese poster for Spider Verse,
Yeah,
they've
exactly.
got like a traditional Chinese artist to do it in like that style, and it's
But
looks
I mean,
sick.
even the main Spider Verse poster, which is Miles
Well,
upside down with all the characters behind him. Yeah, it's a faces poster, but at least it's like different.
yeah, like they are getting better with their marketing, which is one thing Marvel's doing good at.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. It is. Talking of Marvel,
Mm,
MCU,
yes,
Iron Man coming up on 15 years since it came out.
which is wild that it's been 15 years. 15
Back when you
years.
were like 35, the first MCU film came out.
Two in a day. Two in one day.
There was a third, I think,
Actually,
in
yeah, no,
this.
there is a third.
Uh, yeah,
God.
absolutely ripped you today.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Deal with
rip
it.
these arrows out of me. It's fine. Like
Uh,
but yeah, 15 years. I mean, I was what,
yeah, it's
12,
wild.
13.
I was at
What
8.
wild that it's been that long. Wild that that film kicked all of this off.
Yeah.
Um Marvel put out a little one-on-one style kind of chat thing with Kevin, not Kevin. Why am I blanking on names? No, it
John
was
Favreau?
John Favreau and it was Kevin and John.
Yeah.
Um, John Favreau was blanking on me. And they were chatting about making Iron Man 1 and kind of like what it was like when they were in the process of doing that. And they talked a bit about like John Favreau joked, he said, this is going to keep us busy for the next 10 years. And it's like, oh, well, here they are 15 years later, still going strong. Um, and like they kind of, when you think back, Iron Man 1 had a incredible cast.
Yeah.
Really. It like
Yeah. Yeah.
it had such a strong cast, and they were like, if it had died right there, like it would have just died as a great cool. Iron
Yeah.
Man was a great film. Sweet. What was next? But like it turned into something more, and I think it's pretty cool watching them just chat about it for a little bit. So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
recommend anyone should go watch that.
Yeah. It'll be weird to think in 5 years we'll be getting like 20th anniversary celebrations for the first MCU film.
Oh yeah. We really are.
It's gonna
Wild.
be crazy.
It's wild out here.
Yeah, I've seen every MCU film in cinema, and before I'm 30, we're going to be celebrating the 20th anniversary of the start of it.
I think there's only one I've missed from cinema.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I saw the second. I didn't see the second Spider-Man in cinema.
I didn't see Far From Home.
Yeah,
That was a good film. I know it got a lot of hate. I think it was
I
unjust.
enjoyed.
But in even bigger anniversary news,
Yeah,
40 years since Return of the Jedi.
I was what now? um,
Rory had just had his first beer.
my first beer.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a really out of pocket joke then, and I stopped myself because that's not appropriate for the podcast. But uh, yeah, I know 40 years since Return of the Jedi as well.
Yeah.
Like And we were just talking about like last week about the Star Wars films and ranking them and whatnot, and it's like
Yeah,
they've
it
aged.
still holds up.
Yeah, it still holds up 4 years on, which is a testament to George Lucas and what he built.
Yeah, yeah, they were so far ahead of their time. It's unreal.
Yeah, it really
And the
is.
problem is, growing up, we'd watch it, and we'd be like, "Oh, this looks okay," not realizing compared to what else was coming out at the time that
Mm,
it was mind-boggling.
yeah. That's
Um,
that's the thing, right? It's like nowadays we watch them back and we're like, oh, these hold up really well. You don't
yeah,
have a perception of like when this was releasing in cinema,
yeah.
this was like nothing people had seen.
The original trilogy, for the most part, looks better than the prequels,
Yeah, practical.
and
It's all
and
practical. That's
yeah,
why.
and that tells you everything you need to know. George Lucas mastered the balance very early on of practical with dummies and puppets, and then you touch it up with
And miniature
CGI. Yeah,
and a lot of
if
miniature work.
if you take them skills today and use them the exact same way, you wouldn't
Mm.
even know. You wouldn't even know. It'd be so good. Imagine if Marvel went to the kind of miniature, highly practical, and then CGI to touch it up. You'd never hear another complaint again.
Well,
I know it's probably the most expensive way to do it,
well,
but my god, it'd be so good.
let's look at like what is the modern day version of what Star Wars did back then. Is like what they're doing with Mando with the um
Oh yeah, with
um,
their special stage with the
yeah,
walls. The yeah,
with the virtual stage. Like that is they still use a lot of practical, and they've just found a way to add in digital essentially in a practical way to make, and it's like imagine they went back now, like imagine they start leaning into doing miniature work on a virtual stage. Like it just looked like it was like it would look 100% real.
you know. Are you ready for the best analogy I've ever made?
Go on, there we go.
The original trilogy is to special effects what Avatar thinks it is.
I mean, yeah, I mean Avatar is
Obviously,
all
the levels are
CGI.
different. The
Oh, it's
levels are
not actually
different,
all CGI.
but what Avatar thinks it's given to special effects is what Star Wars actually did give, as well as also actually being good films.
Well, Avatar has helped push CGI. Star Wars helped push VFX as a whole, and that included CGI, practical, like compositing. Like Star Wars pushed everything, whereas I would say Avatar has pushed CGI just as strong, but not necessarily like the other thing.
But I think Avatar just showing how good CGI can be has actually hurt the industry more than helped it.
Yes and no. It's allowed. I would say that the benefit Avatar has brought is it's like the studios like Weta and stuff that have worked on it and had to develop these tools to like improve their simulations has meant other films have looked better. It's like it's that first person like because that's what Star Wars did as well. Like at least with the prequels, is when they were learning CGI, it's like it was a lot of they built their own tools to do a thing that they wanted to do, which is what Avatar does, and then it's allowed it to like other films to then they can go to another film like yeah we can do water effects now like like realistic water effects. What do you want to do? I've
Yeah.
got Kong and Godzilla fighting in the ocean. Cool, no problem.
But yeah, shall we move on to